yeah, and you're right. My opinions are definitely based in my knowledge of cultures and history. But I gotta have a unique opinion. I can't just recycle some thought out one.
And that's why you're here. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I'm your host and referee, Zach Stat Pearson. And today I'm joined by the Lord of all Yinglings, one Adrian Windsor.
Hi there.
Okay. All right. Now let's get into those topics. Topic 1. Sony has admitted that their PlayStation 5 will have unique devices and accessories that Sony has not disclosed. A patent that has recently showed up, look in the video above. Oops, sorry, left that part in. A patent showed up for Sony showing a storage device that isn't a USB or external hard drive. The rumor is based on its thinness that it's physical memory device for the PlayStation 5. What do you think? Topic 2. After over a decade of development hell, the Uncharted movie has begun production. Currently, Mark Wahlberg, who was asked to play Nathan Drake, is now playing Sully, his older companion. And Tom Holland is playing a young version of Nathan Drake. Given the history of video game movies, but factoring in creators' unwillingness to let Hollywood crucify the franchise, do you think it has a chance of not being terrible? That almost feels bad to say, but it's so accurate. Topic 3. An unannounced SuperMan game from the people who brought you the Arkham series of Batman games has been canceled due to superficial financial reasons. But because of this, we have learned that WB has been trying to find a studio to make a proper one, as in not terrible Superman game, for years. Now, who do you think can pull it off? Brian Allen, owner of a successful entertainment network, is suing Comcast, who has gone out of its way to avoid doing business with his network's channel. Even though he is one of the most successful in-house African-American-owned network systems in entertainment, currently Comcast is always rejecting him, citing low sales or low profitability. However, the number of African-owned networks is literally in the triple digits that have low profit. Whoa, did I phrase that right? No, wait. No. That's a typo. Currently, Comcast is always rejecting him, citing low sales or low profitability. However, the number of Caucasian-owned networks is literally in the triple digits that have low profitability or have received no acclaim or recognition that are part of the Comcast Channel Network, or CCN for short. Now, Comcast is trying to get a civil rights law abolished before his trial begins, where he is providing proof of unsuccessful, non-profitable, and low profitability networks that make or do less than he does. The question to you is this racist? Do you think Comcast is doing this or doing this on purpose, or are they simply being told to ignore minority-based entertainment networks? Yes, I'm going to correct the typos in that one. Or something else, why or why not? And, go ahead and get us started off with the topics while I do some light cleaning.
So for topic 1, with the PlayStation 5 having that piece there, I think it's hard to say. I think they're kind of like, flirting or teasing with the idea that they could be adding something. Now, keep in mind, external hard drives have been used with USB ports as well. So it is interesting because we're not really sure what it could be used for at the moment. And I think it's supposed to either be, it could just be a placement thing. But think about it, these images go through a lot of vetting and a lot of work to make it look attractive and good, and they wouldn't just leave in something there that wasn't supposed to be seen. So I am actually interested. I don't know what it could be used for, though. Actually, it's very hard to guess.
Have you seen what it looks like, by the way?
Yes, a little bit ago.
Okay. By the way, if you find it again, feel free to drop it in the texting page.
I'm gonna look for it right now. I believe it's these things that look kind of like packs of bubblegum.
Not gonna lie, you're not the first person to say that.
maybe Sony is making a competitive band with Wrigley and is trying to make their own bubblegum. That's going to be my guess.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony didn't already have a bubblegum.
Actually, you know what they look like? They look like really smoothed over, kind of modern versions of GameCube cards. Look at how they say 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes, 3 terabytes.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe they're going.
Yeah, I know, but that's the CG people adding shit to the mock-up. They're just that square without that label, and that label was a mock-up. That's why no one's sure. But you know, I'll give my theory because I got like 2 theories for that thing in particular. But yeah, continue.
No, yeah, I'm interested in your theory. I would guess that even though those are slapped on there, perhaps unofficially, there are a few pictures of them with those stickers on them, about 4 or 5, and I would guess that they could be memory cards, or as a storage in a way, so that you could let's say play a game or play a movie and then bring it to someone else's house, or maybe even download something like Netflix onto it in this world of heavy streaming. And then maybe you could, put in your Netflix on someone else's telly or system. Of course, a PlayStation 5 because that's their market. But that way that could be working as an advertisement method.
Still your house, bro. Keep going.
Moving to topic 2. The Uncharted movie. So I mean, I have really low standards for video game movies, and perhaps my biggest criticism of a lot of movies these days is that they're rehashes of the same series or remakes of the same film or characters, and that there's no real original ideas. And it's bugging me, and an Uncharted movie sounds like a great idea on paper if I could go back in time and, get Harrison Ford to star in it. But I don't know about Mark Wahlberg in that. And then Tom Holland, but who's actually going to be playing the young Nathan Drake as well. And, it's just... I have such bad vibes from video game movies for the most part. I mean, some of the animated ones, like the Final Fantasy movies, are quite good, but that's because they're animated and because they're supportive of the games, and they're not really this trying to get, like, video game movies try to get this whole audience of people when they really should just focus on the core video gaming audience that gets it, if they want to do well, because it's a good audience. They don't need to branch out and add in stuff, because then you lose the video gaming audience, which should be your automatic base to go to. So, no, I don't have a great vibe from it, but I'm interested to see. I'll give it a chance. An unannounced Superman game. Oh boy, Arkham series. Well, the Arkham series is fine, but Superman games are cursed, I believe. I mean, just look at the N64 Superman. I don't think I have high hopes for Superman. I think we're dealing with perhaps like I think they're gonna make a skyscrapery field with fog where there's no clear objective and you just fly around with impossible controls. Maybe that would be a great thing to see in the game. I mean, it's just I have higher hopes for the Uncharted movie with Mark Wahlberg. That's all I'll say.
So you don't think any company could pull off a Superman game?
I mean, any company right now. But maybe I'll be wrong. You never know. It's a dangerous task to take. I wish them luck. And Brian Allen with Comcast. Oof, that's my first reaction to that. I don't know. with the whole thing with the civil rights law. I feel like a lot of companies try to play we're not giving our opinion kind of viewpoint, which is really transparent to a lot of people about how the CEO feels about, well, pick a minority and or sexual interest or women, and they just, like the whole Jeff Bezos thing and the whole Pixar thing, and it's just ugh. Or we could mention Donald Trump. But a lot of companies on face value try to play this like we don't have an opinion kind of viewpoint. We're just doing this because it's not helpful. To our company, we're not trying to hurt anyone. Our connectivity would go down or some bullshit. I just don't know, and it's so difficult to tell. With given the surrounding issues with the whole trial and everything, it's really questionable. It has this fishiness to it that's like hard to approach, but still stinks like shit. But it is just as possible that there's a reason they're not picking up those networks. There's definitely a possibility that not wanting to pick up networks more popular with an African American audience just happens to be coincidental, and that maybe someone else is doing those networks. But that doesn't make any sense.
Slight clarification: he doesn't just own African American exclusive, because that's not a thing, networks. He owns a chain of networks, but they're not geared towards one ethnicity or demographic. He just owns a chain of networks. Or I guess chain of channels.
I meant networks that are geared towards that audience. Like, there used to be a show like that. I mean, one of them that was somewhat geared towards that audience is the Dave Chappelle Show, but I fucking love that show. So, whatever. And there's plenty of shows where they're gauged towards a more minority audience.
Okay, network in this case means a collection of channels under an organization or an individual. He has a network.
You're talking about multiple networks.
Yes, he owns channels, multiple channels. He owns his network owns multiple channels, and no, not all of them are geared to or designated for one demographic or the African American demographic. He just happens to own his own channels, a lot of them, or a couple of them, and he can't get in, and they keep citing bullshit reasons. So the question, besides is it racist or does it look racist, which you're answering or did answer, is also the second part of that is, why do you think they're targeting a civil rights law? Why do you think they're targeting a civil rights law if they didn't do anything wrong and they're not racist?
Oh, I didn't say they didn't do anything wrong. I think that maybe the CEO is kind of racist. I wouldn't go and say the whole company is racist quite a ways, but it's my point is, even if it's just networks that are popular or channels that are popular in certain minority households, it's not really a good thing that he's being put in so many spots that kind of point to the racist answer, and it's kind of like I have to make the assumption that he's being kind of a shit.
Can't say I blame you. Blizzard and Activision was the tip of the iceberg, no pun intended. This shit has always been around. It's systemic. Now, I don't just mean racism. I mean catering to racism if they have money. You can't fix that till you fix the system. Okay, well, since you showed up late, officer, why don't you go ahead and take your spin on the topics, assuming you're done, Yingling.
Yeah, I just finished, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Wanted to talk about Alan Moore.
We'll get to that, but okay, go ahead, officer.
Guess I arrived just in time. Apologies for my late. Okay, topic 1. So, what exactly do you mean by a physical memory device?
Do you really not know what the fuck a memory card is?
Oh. That's what you're saying. So it's a memory card?
We don't know. It looks like one. Look at the picture.
Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, if they're going back to memory cards, that could be kind of cool, actually. Because certainly a lot more portable than a hard drive for the system, though I'm concerned of will it have a decent amount of storage space. I know storage has been getting better over the years, but I'm just wondering how much they'll be able to have on that thing. Like, I don't know, 500 gigs, maybe a terabyte. It does look like an actual memory card, though. I didn't think I'd ever see them come back to this shit. That's kind of cool. Alright, so topic 2. Considering the history of video game movies, I don't think it's going to be all that good. At best, it's going to be okay. Even with, you know, the admittedly decent cast they're bringing in for it. I think at best we're going to get something that's okay. Now, as for topic 3, well, it's gonna be a game in like a similar vein as the Batman Arkham games, or at least if that's what they were planning.
Yes, that's what they were planning.
Yeah. They should definitely still keep with the action game format, but honestly, knowing SuperMan, there's not a whole lot in the way of like anything other than beat 'em up that I could think of for a game for him. So I guess go to someone who can make a decent action game, maybe Capcom or what was it, Platinum Games. They're both pretty good with action games. So hey, maybe go to them and see if they can help them with that. And I mean, so long as they get someone who's made some pretty good action games and get the right people on the team, I think they could easily pull off Superman action game. Though I honestly don't see any other game or type of game it could be. So. Okay, topic 4. Yeah, while I didn't hear all of it, I'm kind of in agreement with Youngling here that, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily the entire company, but the upper management are just actively, they don't want that stuff on their in their channel lineup because, well, let's face it, they're racist assholes. Kind of makes all the other people in the company look, honestly, quite a bit worse by comparison, but, I mean, not much they can do when the upper management are douches. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for me.
All right, I guess that leaves me. Okay, okay, so I have to be careful because I have to word everything I'm about to say a certain way if you catch my drift. I think that Sony is trying to alleviate the boost that they are indirectly giving third-party storage device makers. But what I don't know is this a piece of device that's going to be inside of a controller? So you can take your controller anywhere and be able to pull up your save files or special custom data. If not, you know, be able to take a memory card out of the controller, put it in the system. People keep forgetting, but you know, that could be something we could easily do. We could easily have a setup now where we have a memory card that goes into the controller, but it can also hold the game, and not just hold the game data. Like, imagine if we had a video game where you had a custom character, and instead of having this 9 or 10 digit code, you had to write down and type in every time you went to your friends or homies' place to play the shit offline. You just got your memory card, boom. Or your buddy ain't got nothing, so you know you want to play a game, pull out your memory card, stick it in his PlayStation, and now you can play that game on your account with your memory card. So instead of having to worry about, you know, oh, too many device limit, there you go. You can just do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a callback to what was it?
Dreamcast. It's basically the Dreamcast shit.
GameCube had it. I actually really
No,
liked
Dreamcast
that.
had it. It was Dreamcast. Dreamcast, you could take the memory card and stick directly into the controller. And instead of being like the Nintendo 64 is what you guys are thinking about, what it actually did was it was a secondary screen too. So
I wasn't thinking of the N64 actually. I was thinking of the.
Well, I just know that Nintendo started it, but they didn't go anywhere as deep or as far as Sega did when they made the Dreamcast.
Yep.
So, and that's something I've always wanted to see. Like, what if I could manage my data on my game or on my system from the fucking controller without even turning on the screen, or really, hell, not even powering up the system? That'd be fucking cool. That's when I first saw the Dreamcast controller and they told me about the memory card. That's what I thought it could do. And I wasn't wrong. You can actually erase or wipe certain data from the thing, but you know, it's very limited. Anyways, now also I was thinking that's what the new cartridge is going to be like. Like, the CD is gone, but then they said, oh no, we're introducing 100 gigabyte Blu-ray disc. I was like, oh yeah, now we got something we can really put the 4K movies on. But if that's the case, then I'm thinking that this thing could be meant to do more than just storage. It might also be meant to be some type of device that lets you put entertainment-based stuff on the system. Because you know how it is with Sony. It's always more aggravating than it needs to be to get shit on the system. You either have two choices. You go and find music via Spotify, or you got to go into their built-in music player, which they paid more attention to with the PS3. You got to manually put a USB stick in there, waste the whole entire slot on your PlayStation 4, and you can only listen to the music that's on there. Why not just give me a memory card? I can put my stuff on there, and it doesn't take up a USB slot. I would love that. But yeah, that's what I think that could be. Now, as far as Uncharted, I'm scared. Yes, I am glad that Naughty Dog and the company that, you know, owns the rights to Uncharted, or the creators of it, they want to make sure this isn't garbage, which is why they've been rejecting script after script after script after script. But they need to really lean in on what they mean by a young Nathan Drake, because Tom Holland is barely an adult. However, even though he's barely an adult, here's the thing. This mug literally has never had a chance to act in the way on screen or on camera or anything in the way that Nathan Drake does. Literally. Every role Tom Holland does is not the Nathan Drake style. Nathan Drake is basic, but you know, he's got that whole, oh, I'm an action character, but hey, I got a comical, upbeat personality. I get what they were going for in that regard. But here's the thing. Nathan Drake didn't do all the stuff he's doing when he was young at all. When Nathan Drake first started going into that crazy life, he was already in his 30s. So what type of movie is this going to be if we're getting at Nathan Drake before he became the adventurer that he did? Because for me, it feels like this is an origin story movie. This isn't, oh, here's the character already established. I don't hate origin movies, but it's going to be an uphill battle for them. I think it might be a situation where the first one, the fans don't like, but the new fans do. And when they get to the second one, everyone likes it. And then they do however many they end up doing, you know? Who's to say it won't end up with a spin-off shit going down? It's not the first time Uncharted's had spin-offs. Basically, I don't want / think the movie will suck, given the fact that it's being curated by the people that made the damn franchise. But at the same time, you know, let's not forget, Sony bought Naughty Dog now. And we all know what happens when Sony tries to make their own movie without listening to the advisors of anybody who owned the property they're making a movie of.
Yeah. Did you forget the Mario Brothers movie?
No, I don't like to think about it. There's a difference. Do you like thinking about your parents having sex? Fuck no, nobody does.
Not sure I'd compare it to something like that, but...
I would. I totally would. I don't want to think about it. We're done talking about it.
Okay.
I walked into my parents. It was almost as bad as when I had to see the Mario Brothers.
Yes. Okay, so Superman game development hell, or not even really development hell, pre-development hell, which is a new concept even for gaming. Then again, I'm in that too, so shit, don't I know how that feels. All right, so basically the story is, and this is what we know for sure before we go into he say she say bullshit. Warner Brothers did try to commission Rockstar or Rocksteady to, I can't remember which one it is because I always get them mixed up because they both start off with Rock. But whichever company that made the Batman games, I think it was Rockstar that made them. Someone look this up, please. But initially, they weren't going to make a Superman game. They got commissioned nearing the ending of the Batman Arkham series to make a new game. But while they were developing it, they realized that Superman cannot naturally conform to the Arkham engine. But you know, with these greedy, really big companies, they always have to make sure they don't give anybody else their money that they don't have to. So instead of doing something common sense, like, you know, licensing the Unity or licensing the Unreal Engine. Funny. You can do real-time editing, just right-click whatever you messed up. What they decided to do was, instead of, you know, not being petty, they said, oh, fuck it, we just will make it if we can't conform our engine to it. Or it'll cost too much to conform our engine to be able to handle Superman. Had a feeling you did. So, that meant everything now goes back into the ether. An ether that's, if memory serves, close to 13 years old. That's the current rumor, that they've been fishing people to make a Superman game for 13 years. Or let me phrase that, a Superman game that doesn't suck for 13 years. Right. Now, the thing is, I think it can be made, but there will be some caveats that Warner Brothers might try to fuck with them over. However, given how Batman turned out and the low overhead after the first game, at least, that was given to them, I do in fact think that, what is it? That whoever's going to get it, they're probably going to be given a lot of leeway, just because I think at this point Warner Brothers has officially acknowledged that making a Superman game is difficult, not because it's Superman, but because of the level of mechanics and technicality that is inherent for the developers to design with to make it feel like Superman. Dragon Ball Kakarot's coming out right now. It's Dragon Ball. And what is Dragon Ball? Superman with energy blast. Sorry, Supermen and women, but they can also do energy blast, not just in their eyes. So you know what that means? It's totally fucking doable. But we still don't know if Dragon Ball Kakarot is actually going to be a good game or not. However, it's got Dragon Ball on it, so hey, at least it'll make Namco Bandai some money. What I think, or who I think can pull it off, by default, Namco Bandai. And I'll tell you why. Because even though Namco Bandai has the issues that it does, we're not going to get into them all here. Here's the one hallmark about Namco Bandai. They can keep producing something over and over and over and over until fans think it don't suck. And they're one of the only companies that do that. Naruto gets them a lot of money. It's basically a second Dragon Ball for them. But listen, why did they keep making those Naruto games over and over and over and over again? It's not because brain dead idiots bought it. It's because they animated it well. The characters were giving high levels of detail to make them feel authentic. But on top of that, they have no problem going in and correcting big issues and mistakes during the run of a franchise. So if they completely fucked up a Superman 1 to the point where even like, you know, after patches, it was still somewhat mediocre. If they got to Superman 2, oh, they'd be refining and whittling all the garbage out. Of course, they'll be DLCing the fuck out of you and probably trying to add microtransactions. But the thing is, they would eventually be able to make a good Superman game. So the biggest issue would be is how petty is Warner Brothers. What? You only made $2 million when you were supposed to make $4 million, but it made profit after $1 million. I don't give a fuck, bitch. You know? It would be up to the Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers is Warner Brothers. Let's be honest. We know that company is not run by people that play video games or people that at least love them. There may be one or two people who are shareholders or one person who's near the CEO, but it's not the company from the ground up. We know it's not. And I just love how they skip over the Flash when the Flash is going through a renaissance. But hey, I'm not even a DC dude, and I know the Flash is booming right now. So I think besides them, the only other companies would be, we already said them, no, Capcom and Platinum Games, because of their history with action. And all you're doing at this point is you're adding one extra dimension, which is 360-degree omnidirectional movement. So is it not possible for a hacker to make a Devil May Cry where Dante's got infinite devil trigger and you can't turn off his flight ability? Oh wait, it's already built into the games. Like literally every game you could do that from the beginning. They ain't got much to add to it. They just need to make sure that enemies can fly and are humanoid and be able to fight and combat him the same way. Platinum, well, the creators of Bayonetta and Devil May Cry and some of the people who worked on both are over at Platinum as well. So Platinum know what the fuck to do. It goes without saying, because the people who made these genres popular or as big as they are, minus Ninja Gaiden, the 3D era, are all between Capcom and Platinum Games. But let me introduce you guys to one unexpected player in this game. And well, I'm gonna just say this right now. The company and the people at the company are two different things. But there are people at this company who can pull off making this game. And that company is Konami. Go ahead and get it out your system, Matt.
Fuck Konami. Fuck Konami.
Feel better? Okay. I'm gonna tell you why. There's a little thing that I picked up, but a lot of the world didn't realize happened because it was poorly advertised. Even though Konami thinks it doesn't make profit, motherfucker, you didn't advertise it like you do Metal Gear and FIFA. Zone of Enders. Zone of Enders is a real-time omnidirectional action game where you play a giant robot, but its controls are not, oh, I'm just going to shoot you in the air and hover and fly around like a traditional Gundam game. You actually can and do get up close. You have multiple special effects and abilities, and your character's main way of dealing damage is literally to hit them physically. You can also dash in multiple directions, and your dash is infinite. And it's fun. It even had a built-in little fighting game in it too. They made two of them, Zone of the Enders and Zone of Enders 2. I don't know how to, well, look, best way I can describe it is your whole entire left analog is for moving all across all of the fields and directions. But when you target a character, your movement analog will now put you in somewhat of a Z axis, but geared towards your forward is your opponent, going towards your opponent, and your back is away from your opponent versus moving up and down. And it switches in real time without any true issues. Also, when you get close to an opponent, if you fly behind them, it'll actually go into an arc like you would a half circle or a 180. And remember, almost every single time you fight in the game, it's physical hand-to-hand combat. Not to mention, you can pick up physical objects like poles and rods on the ground, bash them with your enemies, or throw them at them. Now imagine a Superman version of this. He flies towards, I don't know, we'll say, shit, who's a Superman enemy that can fly? Zod. He flies towards Zod. Zod shoots him with his one-eyed laser beam. Superman knows it's coming, so he does the 180 dodge to get behind Zod. But now Zod saw it, predicted him, knocked him away onto the ground. Oh, look, here's an empty car. Superman can pick up the car, throw the car at Zod, and even though Zod, doesn't really feel anything from it, it makes an explosion. Superman can run through that explosion and ram that motherfucker. Like, it's not hard for the creators or the people who fucked with the Zone of Enders mechanics and engine to convert it into Superman. Because here's the thing. All you have to do is speed up Zone of Enders. And you have to give him more than a 3-hit combo. Because despite how much I love the game, look, the main character, your basic attack doesn't change. You only have that 3-hit combo. And you give him actual maneuvers that are both air, anti-air, and aerial only. And you got a Superman game on your hands. And as far as the invulnerability, shut the fuck up about that shit. I hate when people bring up invulnerability. Where can Superman be hurt if he's invulnerable? First and foremost, Superman's invulnerability is based off of his direct absorption of sunlight. However, he can be hit hard enough to where the effects don't recover, aka diminishing returns. Meaning,
aka punched in the dick.
I doubt it, but then again, that's the one part of his body that never receives any sunlight, so probably. Anyways, if he gets hit by, for example, we'll say the second hardest punch in the entire DC universe, even though he's invulnerable, he would still crumple down. He may even vomit, or his stomach may be fucked up. Why? Because he got hit so hard, his skin density can't keep up, and the sun rays aren't helping him enough. Remember, the closer he is to the sun or a star, the stronger he gets. So if he's on Earth, technically his power is not at its peak. Courtesy, Superman 1 million, if you guys have seen him. He's basically a gold statue that is Superman, but it's actually Superman. Anyways. So what ends up happening is if you just speed that up and add a combo system, Namco Bandai's done 90% of the job. 90%. But of course, this is, not Namco Bandai, Konami. But of course, this is Konami. So they're going to fuck it up. Or they're going to manipulate the system, even if it sucks, to make it profitable so they can make another game. And then after they make that other game, then they'll probably actually fix the issues. But yeah, if you guys get a chance, go look at Zone of the Enders.
I already have. Really good game.
I'm referring to the 0.2 people that look at the podcast, but yeah. And they did do a HD collection of it, but I don't know if it made it to PS4. I know it made it to PS3 because this was originally a PS2 game, so it's not like they can't update and upgrade that engine anyway. Also, the robots are supposed to be big in these giant areas, dude. Cut the robot size in half, make it SuperMan, and fuck, now the game is magically bigger. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. Moving on. First part of the Comcast issue is totally fucking racist. When you want to remove a civil rights law so you can get away with not giving a minority access to your business, which is a fucking felony among other things, it's totally fucking racist. Is the entire company racist? Hell no. We all know that that's never a thing. Not everybody at EA likes what EA does. In fact, people quit all the time and company studios get destroyed all the time, not because, oh, we can't hire new people. It's because everyone there says fuck EA and they leave that company. So basically, oh shit. Sorry. One of the podcasters was having a slight emergency. There's no way for that to not look racist. If you can sit up here and say to me, oh, well, I know you think that we exclude your people from using our network, but don't worry about it because we're going to get rid of the law that would make us accountable on the government level to make sure that you are treated fairly. There's no way for that to not be racist. Period. You're not going to unfuck that mule. Period. Anyways, now as far as the other part of this, it's either or as far as who in the company is racist. I believe, well, first off, this man has been wronged and he's proved it. The problem is that they're trying to fuck with the court system so they can get their way. The thing here is very, 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 very simple. The CEO knows that he has a bunch of racist shareholders, but he loves money so much he doesn't give a fuck. Or the shareholders don't give a shit and they're easily lied to, and executives are a bunch of fucking white supremacist cuck boys. Now I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Because no matter what you think or feel about companies that go around supporting dictators and fucked up people and doing business with them and shit like that, they don't have to. If every shareholder told the CEO or all the people at Comcast to actively block, out loud, actively block fucking what's going on with minorities trying to utilize their network, the only thing that has to happen is everyone has to get up and walk out of that fucking door. And when people ask them why they left, tell them exactly what happened. That's literally it. The problem is too many people like sucking money's dick hole. They like getting balls deep. And that's not a matter of capitalism. That's a matter of integrity, dignity, and upbringing. So, sorry for the long pause. Real talk, and I genuinely do mean this. The only reason racism is still profitable is because nobody walks away from systemic racism within a business entity. It's not because we have racists. It's because the people who aren't racist, the ones who want to benefit from both sides, what I like to call the opportunists, which first off, not actually a healthy, a positive human trait, despite what people may say. We fucking let them. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is the good men to do nothing and suck off money's dick. Period. And it sucks because, first off, the odds of even having another man of any type in this day and age create a network of channels, period, that wasn't already born into money or just fucking already in the networking, no pun intended, of people who own TV stations is rare, whether they're African American descent or not. Period. That shit is uncommon. It's basically Oprah and everyone else already had money. These major networks, single digit channels, you know, they're not filled with just racists at random and shit, or people who only give a fuck about the GOP and nothing else and how quickly they can make themselves money. No, this shit is generational, man. Whoever's running ABC, well, Disney's running ABC, but we all know, fuck, Walt Disney, celebratory racist. But the motherfucker dead. Some of the people he hated, they're on his actual board of executives. His daughter, his niece, not racist. Doesn't even really pay attention to the company because she herself does not want to make her life just about the company. And more power to her. She found what she wants to do. But when she found out about the working homeless and people started pulling her on television shows, first thing she said is, me giving away my money isn't going to fix all the problems, but we will be adjusting the Disney problems. And what did they do? They cut Bob Iger's check in half, and they're trying to eliminate working homeless because Disney has had working homeless for over 15 years. It's actually closer to 20. Disney has purposely made working homeless in the happiest place in the world for over 2 decades. How long has Bob Iger been in that seat, motherfucker? So yeah. The problem isn't that there is racism in the company. The problem is that they're profiting from those racists and they don't care. This is genuinely an issue of financial and business racism that has been rarely been seen or really just exposed on this scale. And I wish that dude the best of luck in his case. When the NAACP tells you in the wrong, I promise you, bro, you fucked up. You fucked up. Okay, so yeah, that's taken care of. Now, we got a little bit of time to fill because unfortunately we had a serious electrical issue with one of our podcasters, but I'm gonna just ask you guys, assuming you read it, if you didn't, too late at this point. A full context version of an old Alan Moore critique of the superhero themed movie genre came out, where he basically says almost every single piece of superhero movie that is currently available. Again, this is me shortening it because the whole thing is like 5 paragraphs long. But near the end of it, he basically stated that these superhero movies are nothing but a modern day version of Birth of a Nation. A very famous and racist, and if someone tells you it's not, they're an idiot and racist or stupid and don't realize they're supporting racism. A movie about African Americans or minorities in general trying to take over North America and, of course, raping white women, among other things. He's implying that these movies are just a modern day version of that, meant to basically inflate the ego of the quote unquote white man Ubermensch. Alan Moore has been known for saying a lot of things, and very, very, very many of them, if that's even proper grammar, are known to not so much be polarizing, but to be flat out fucking weird and sometimes inherently wrong. However, where the problem comes in is that he's also notorious for claiming his opinion as fact or not mentioning that his opinion is his opinion and he's not giving a fact. So just provide a little context for the people who aren't going to go through and find this Alan Moore stuff. I'll try to, no, I can't copy and paste because I screenshotted the interview, but I haven't found the original interview. But if I could text it or copy paste it, I will put it in the description in the YouTube video. But so let me ask you, Adrian, because I know you read it. Do you think Alan Moore is right, or he's like somewhat just delusional, which wouldn't be the first time for him either or?
Well, before I start completely, Ish, you should read it so that you can reply after if you haven't yet. It was sent to the chat.
Okay.
What chat did you send it to? You gotta remember, we don't leave Facebook open and shit when we're in the podcast because, you know, too many windows and bullshit like that. We just stick with primarily the podcast. But when it's not podcast time, you know, you can drop it in Messenger.
It's like not sending it. Weird.
Are you trying to copy paste?
There's a character limit of 2,000 on Discord.
Yeah, which is dumb. But you gotta basically.
I'm actually trying to send the picture.
Oh well, shit. Maybe the file size is just too big. But the point is that we've read it, or at least I've read it. So you know, just there you go. Just reference whatever you're trying to reference.
I was putting there for Ish, or whatever it is. Anyway, so reading this, it's very hard not to be immediately called back to the cool things Alan Moore's done and the questionable things Alan Moore has said. So it's a very weird spot. I would, you know, I think that in some extent he is kind of right, that a lot of even the Boy Scouts and a lot of the Captain America kind of thing, where it was this blind patriotism. We're fighting the Nazis. These are our beautiful, perfect people, was very much an ideal of the time. And he's not wrong about that. But saying this is today, and that, yeah, he did say the world would end. Saying that this is something they're doing today, I don't know. I mean, no more than anything that's beauty related pushes people that are, you know, the beautiful people or the same ideals, but now with photo editing, I don't think he's any right about this. Then you could say the same thing about, you know, success in girls' music careers or popular female actresses, which is, you know, not to say a lot about their talent. Even male actors have a lot of male actors have a lot of they get stuck in this loop. I mean, look at Leonardo DiCaprio, talented actor, but early on the only kind of job he was getting was as a pretty boy, and even he didn't like it because that's how people saw him. And I think that pushes that narrative, but I don't know if it's the thing about superhero movies is they have a lot of characters, so you could say that they're pushing a lot of beautiful people at you, and that kind of resembles the comic booky and the Ubermensch, Superman kind of ideas, and the perfect, you know, Aryan youth bullshit. But no more than anything else, so it just seems kind of like his rantings in that extent. And then there's the whole Birth of a Nation thing. Technically, I would say the first superhero would be Robin Hood, actually. But,
there's only about two that I know that are older. I wouldn't say it's even Robin Hood. There's one guy that is older than even Superman. And there's also
I'm at 1300s Robin Hood.
Yeah, and now there is one cartoon that's also older. Well, there's a couple cartoons that are older than Mickey Mouse, but they are.
What?
Can y'all not hear me?
No, I meant real Robin Hood.
You said you would say he's the first superhero.
Sure. I mean, he's kind of like a Batman. He's rich to poor. He helps the poor. I mean, he's more of a superhero than Birth of a Nation's Ku Klux fucking.
By the way, has anyone ever looked up what Ku Klux Klan actually means? That shit is hilarious.
It's like an Irish thing, yeah.
No, it was like man lovers or boy lovers or some shit like that. I was laughing my ass off. I want to find that, but yeah, continue, officer. You can go ahead after Adrian.
I think it's like the Manly Love Clan.
Yeah, something like that. I was dying, bro.
But yeah, I was saying, yeah, there's earlier superheroes than superhero Robin Hood. I just was jokingly saying, Birth of a Nation is no more a superhero than a folktale. So it's also a very racist folktale. I mean, it's a very brilliantly constructed movie, and that's why a lot of people like the movie, other than racist people. But it's still, you know, glorifying a group that basically went around treating black people like shit.
And Mexicans and Jewish. It's one of those things people keep forgetting. Like, the Ku Klux Klan did not discriminate, which I know how ironic that sounds, and that's why I said it. They actually fucked up Mexicans, Jews, and Africans. If you didn't look like them, they fucked with you.
Actually, there's an interesting, from a historical perspective, there is a slightly different goal at their start that didn't stay true. Their goal was to fight the carpetbaggers, who were northern white investors who came in and profited off of the South's, you know, destruction. And that was their original goal. And actually, some of their members left when they moved over to, like, other people to attack. But they seem to have had both in mind when they first founded it. So that seems like some people try to give them an excuse through that, which not really right. Things are too complex a lot of times.
Okay. Officer, you ready?
Yeah. Okay. I think while there is some merit in what was said here, I honestly think Moore is reaching, like, really far, trying to reach with these statements. I mean, some of them are kind of the case, but nowhere near to where he's trying to say it is. And bringing up Birth of a Nation, it feels like he's bringing that up just to be edgy and get people's attention and get people pissed off. So, okay, whatever. No, it's not. Birth of a Nation is not a superhero movie. Though, with all these statements you've been making, admittedly, looking at many of the later of the, Marvel Cinematic Universe, various other superhero movies these days, I think it's shifting away from what he's saying here. So, yeah, Alan Moore has done some interesting things for comics and made some very, very well-known comics. Watchmen comes to mind. But, honestly, feels like he's kind of losing it as the years go by. And that's...
What do you mean, kinda? I like how you say kinda.
Okay, I'm trying to put it nicely.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
The man is off his rocker. It's kind of sad to see this happening, but the man is off his rocker. He is going crazy.
My turn?
Go ahead.
Alan Moore has delusions of grandeur, but he's a very special type. He is oblivious to his own delusions, which is weird because technically that would be like that sounds, I guess, would be a double negative, double positive, or however you want to look at it. A delusional person is already going to be oblivious to something, but no, he's oblivious that he's stating delusions. Marvel wants money. Disney wants money. Marvel tries to hire people that don't necessarily want money, the actors do. But as far as writing and directing, people that want to be there and like the characters or like what they're working on. Because passion can multiply money more than pandering can. The problem is, like with any company or business, their job is to just make money. So you never know what you're going to get. You have to guess sometimes. BTS, and I don't mean behind the scenes, I mean Korean boy band generic motherfuckers number 19. Yeah. Their job is not to sell music. Their job is to sell a franchise and make their masters, and that's right, I said masters, money. The mugs do not own that name. They didn't make up the band. They were recruited for it. They're just heads who want a payday. Period. They're heads who want a payday. So the fact that we have a $1 billion company actually letting people make something of passion, and once they at least feel or verify that it's good, minus Captain Marvel and Iron Man 3. Literally, it's a rarity to come across true unfiltered originality. Obviously, the traditional filters of, yo, this is going to turn your audience away, which means we won't be able to get your show or piece of product aired, published, blah, blah, blah. So here's what you shouldn't do, or here's what the government says you can't do because we'll get paid a fucking big ass fine, but you can do it on these specific networks to get around that shit. You know, that type of stuff. Yeah. It's rare to find people being this unfettered. James Gunn, when he made Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Marvel almost gave him absolutely no critiques. No critiques. Once he made the script for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Yeah, they went through it. They did some talking, but almost all of that, it came from that man's soul. He didn't have to work for them. James Gunn, if Guardians of the Galaxy take off, he was going to stick in video games. People don't realize it, but he's actually good friends with Suda51, creator of No More Heroes. And a lot of other shit he didn't want to make that was really smutty, but hey, he didn't have to sign. He could have walked out anytime, but he didn't. That being said, based on what Alan Moore has been through with the comic book industry, when it was really run by people who just wanted a fat paycheck, and then the writers and actual passionate creators were at the bottom end. Hey, Stan Lee is one person. Stan Lee is one person. So despite how they feel or they were treated during the Stan Lee era, let's not forget, Stan Lee only owned part of the company. He never owned 100% or was a majority shareholder. And on top of that, some of their own characters and properties are licensed out to other people who don't have to listen to them. Like Spider-Man. But Alan Moore is special. He knows and understands a layer of the industry that we do not know. But the problem is that he has this delusion where he decides, because he said it, whether it's verified or not, it must work that way. Alan Moore sometimes talks as if he doesn't know he's an existentialist. And for those of you who don't know what existentialism is, it's basically the belief that you can change reality by simply utilizing your willpower. Oh, you will make $1 million because you just said you will and think that you will. That's the smallest example I can give of existentialism. The problem, though, is that there's a moral compass aspect to some of the things he say, and he's unaware of it. Like I can't say it enough. Basically, my biggest problem with Alan Moore, I don't hate him as a person, but he is unaware of how he says the things that he does. But also, I think he's at a point where he doesn't give a shit about corporate opinion because he's done with the corporate style. But at the same time, if he was done, he wouldn't talk to nobody. He wouldn't still make shit. Yeah, he's independent, but he still talk about other shit. He doesn't have to talk about it. He don't have to bring it up, but he still does. How old is Alan Moore any fucking way? Hey, Google. Hey, Google. How old is Alan Moore?
I'll look now.
66 years old.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, never mind.
Shit, Frank Miller, 62. Neil Gaiman, 59. Grant Morrison, 59. Damn, these are some of the best comic book writers, and literally almost all of them over 50. Dave Gibbons is an outlier to me. Dave Gibbons frightens me. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Dave
70
Gibbons.
years old.
Well, besides the fact that he's 70 years old, Dave Gibbons looks like he's no more than 45. If you ever come across Dave Gibbons. 2 B's in Gibbons, by the way.
Age has been kind to him.
Even Mark Miller. Mark Miller's about to hit fucking 50, ironically, right before Christmas. Yes. Mark Miller is a Christmas Eve baby. Fun fact.
Yeah, Dave Gibbons looks like 50.
If he's still got black hair and he's 70. Mind you, it's
a picture of him with gray hair, but maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
but
but
he looks good in this picture. He looks like he's 47 or 8.
Yeah, but get back on top of that's just really my biggest issue. He's at a point where he doesn't have to give a shit. That's not the issue. The problem is that he's making implications that could easily land him in court. And that's what I'm scared of. I don't want Alan Moore to be some great creator that said the wrong thing one time and rest of his retirement life is fucked. Unless he was a complete and total dick scumbag asshole. Case in point, creator of The Witcher, the most insecure man I've ever seen write a book. The creator of The Witcher, if he fucked up and people stopped caring about him tomorrow, I wouldn't feel bad because he deserved it. I'm a did you earn it kind of guy. Oh, people are bullying you and they're trying to kick your ass all the time because you exist, because they think they're insecure and think bullying is fun, or because you did something stupid to them and you just created a bunch of enemies that are not really bullying you, they just fucking hate you. Did you earn it? Not that I think bullying is a good thing, because shit, let's look at my tracker real quick. I'm probably sure at this point, even as an adult, just going to childhood, I've destroyed, or no, that's not a thing, kicked the ass of verbally and physically multiple bullies. Did they deserve it? Yes. I was a man of my fucking business or didn't even know who they were, and they decided, hey, I'm gonna fuck you up. Good luck, bitch. But also, I never had to deal with more than 3 bullies at a time. So, you know, I can throw a desk, pick up a chair. That takes care of 1 or 2 of them, and I'm Gucci. But anyways, I don't want that to happen to him. But at the same time, he has to stop lying to himself. And I know that's what he's doing. Because that's the only reason we're talking about him right now. He's not even saying these things to get attention. He genuinely believes them. And I wish he would stop and think and remember to state or express that his opinion is not a fact. But based on the fact that he literally thought he knew the exact date and time the world would end, I'm pretty sure he's too far gone. He's too far gone. Shit, I think he walked with a cane now too. Anyways. So yeah, this has been another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I will see you guys when I see you guys.
Laters.
Later.